Welcome back to Bloom with Tina and Kelsey. Today we have an extraordinary episode lined up for you, and trust us, you do not want to miss it. We are thrilled to welcome my friend, the inspiring Angelina Rivera, to our show. From her humble beginnings as a secretary to ascending the ranks and becoming a branch manager at the Department of Defense production plant, Angelina embodies resilience and determination. Even in the face of challenges, like her position just being eliminated during the recent government shutdown, she has not just bounced back, she has soared higher than ever before. Angelina is now an acclaimed time management coach and business consultant, helping individuals and organizations refine their processes. She's also the host of her own podcast called Refine and Shine with Angelina Rivera, where she shares her wisdom and insights with her listeners. In this episode, we'll uncover Angelina's journey, explore her strategies for thriving in the face of adversity, and dive into practical tips that you can implement in your own life today. As always, click follow, give us a 5-star rating, and share this episode with your friends. Grab those headphones, your walking shoes, and let's get ready to bloom. This is a conversation you do not want to miss. I am so excited today because we are here with my very special friend, Angelina Rivera. And hi, Angelina.
Hello.
I want to share with everybody how we met.
Yeah.
I met Angelina in Dallas, and it was an event that Brooke Hemingway was hosting. And you have heard so much about Brooke Hemingway if you listen to our podcast on a regular basis. But I met Angelina. There was a session when we were sitting together at a table, and it was after Thomas, her husband, spoke. And I wrote down a day that I was going to retire. Mm-hmm. And it was April 1st of 2024, correct?
I think so.
And I signed it, and Angelina wrote down, or you signed it too, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but we connected in a way that we both had a vision that something had to change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something was going to change. We didn't know what it was or anything like that, but I just knew that there's something bigger and better that was for me, or that was going to happen or something. I just knew that there was something bigger and better that was going to occur. And that's where I met Angelina, and we have been in contact since. And but Angelina, there's so much more to you and about you than just that. So explain to our listeners who you are and your past, and how you have grown to be the woman you are today.
Well, thank you for that. And yeah, I signed the same thing, but for me, yours was to retire. And then for me, it was to leave the job that I was in. And we both was able to accomplish that goal. But I'll take you back to the beginning. I was born and raised in Southern California. I've been in Southern California my whole life. And I'm come from a family of 6. I'm the middle child, but the way that it's balanced, for the little bit of time I was youngest, and then for a little bit of time I was the oldest because of people leaving the house and things like that. My mom pretty much raised us pretty much by herself. I watched her work really, really hard, going to school, working full time, studying at night, doing all the things, waitressing, doing all the things. And I always saw that she worked so hard, and I knew that just to make ends meet. And I always thought, well, I wanted more for my life than that. And nothing against my mom. I love her. I just didn't think she understood that there was more out there. And I was always one of those people that was driven to find out, how can I help? How can I expand? And do I have to stay stuck where I'm at? But then you get comfortable, right? And so my mom, when we were in high school, my mom moved us to the next town. She was able to buy a house, and we moved to the next town. And I was so sad I was leaving all my friends behind. But what I ended up doing was working really, really hard, and made a lot of friends at the new school. but bought my first car. And then I was able to go back to my senior year, go back to the high school with all my friends my senior year, and I would just drive back and forth. So then I started this thing of commuting just to get to where I needed to be. So right after high school, I got a job out of town where I was still commuting. I was doing all these things and like the job, but what felt comfortable, I ended up eventually getting a job at the local, well, not local, it was still far away from me, but Department of Defense at the production plant. And I worked my way. I actually took a pay cut to go there. It was about $7 an hour pay cut, but I knew in my heart that it was going to work out. And here I am with two kids. We're married already, but two kids already. And I'm like, I'm going to take a $7 an hour pay cut. But I knew in my heart that it was going to be the best thing for our family. And I worked myself up from the secretary all the way up to becoming one of the branch managers. So there was only two other positions higher than me. And I worked hard for that. I took on a lot. And sometimes I took on so much that I ended up like letting myself die inside, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And I was working 12 to 16-hour days. I was working 6 days a week. And when I went to that trip in Dallas, it was kind of funny because I had to take leave to go to that trip. My luggage was lost. My flight was delayed. There was all these obstacles. But in that time, it really just made me realize, like, even though there's, like, it's hard and it was hard to travel and take time off, I was like, I actually like it. I love to be able to see the adventure, meet people. And I was like, I knew in my heart I was made for more. And when Thomas made his speech, he was like, I want to do all these things. And he showed us a picture of him when he was really exhausted. And I didn't look at that picture of him. I saw the picture of me. Like I saw myself in that visual. And so from there, that happened. We signed this thing. And I think it was April when we met. And then in May, I really started looking and told my husband, I'm done. I'm done. I love my job because it's secure, but I know I'm made for more. And he keeps like, why do you keep saying that? I'm like, I know. He goes, but we're comfortable. I'm like, I'm not. I feel like I'm dying inside. And so I went on the internet and searched for jobs. I wanted to stay in the federal sector because I was so close. I'm so close to getting that retirement, right? And you want that secured package. My husband's disabled, and so I provide fully for the family. We need the medical, all those things. So I went on the internet, looked at USA Jobs, put in the job that I currently have, like the job series, and then I found this job. I told my husband, "Oh, it's in Maryland. I'm going to apply. It says telework, remote work. I'm going to just go for it." So I did. I applied. That was in May 17th. I applied. July, I got called for an interview. August, I got called for a second interview. And then I got the offer and I decided to take the job. But during that time, all these other things came into play. There was all these things about like your fingerprinting, background check, all the things that took a long time. And then so my husband were going back and forth, like, do we move there? And I said, well, they say I only have to be there once a week, so I can just travel back and forth. At the work I was currently at, I didn't tell anybody, but I felt like sadness. Like I have all these people. I was there for almost 18 years. The place that I worked at, my great grandpa helped build the production plant. My grandma worked there. She was the first female journeyman mechanic. And my dad had worked there. My brother had worked. Like we had so much legacy in there and where I worked at, that particular place was only one of the few places in the town that I had been born in that made good money.
Mm.
And so I was just like, I'm leaving all these people behind. But I just God kept giving me these God winks that I was making the right decision. In fact, one of the things, the day that I decided to take the job, I'm driving this commute that I have. My son's asleep because we commuted together. He's asleep in the car. I'm blasting my Christian music. And I look up and I'm praying and I'm driving, but I just look and I look at the sky and it was just like this beautiful, I don't even know, the clouds, the sunshine, the sun rising. And I felt like it was God saying, do it. Like I just felt it. I got chills in my body. I'm still getting chills right now.
Yeah.
And then there was a song that came on right after was like right when I said, okay, God, I hear you. the song that came on is like, you'll be okay. I don't remember the whole words, but the lyrics of the song is saying, I will take care of you. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. So I told my husband that day, later on that night, I'm like, I'm going to take it. He's like, well, I'm like, God told me it's okay. He's going to take care of me. And so then going through, preparing, I was started cleaning out my files, waiting to see, like, do I tell my job yet? They're like, don't say anything yet until everything goes through. Things can happen. You could lose, budget, all the things. I didn't get the official job offer until December 2nd or something like that. And they wanted me to start the next week. And I'm like, I can't. So I gave my work the 2-week notice. And the day that I left, 2 other branch heads retired and the plant manager retired. So I felt so bad and I felt guilty. Like, these all people are retiring and here I'm leaving too. But in my heart, I knew it was going to be okay. I set up all my files during that time. I gave everybody all the turnover. It was like 5 people that they hired to, or not hired, but they divided my job up into. And I'm like, if there's going to be 5 people doing this, I'm going to be okay, because I'm a call away. And they've called me a few times, but the job that I went to was a lot different than I thought it was going to be. It was a lot of travel. And instead of the 1 day a week, it was, you had to be there 2 days a week. And then some days you had to be there 4 days a week. So I was traveling every week. But I still felt it was okay. And everybody kept saying, well, don't you regret this? You're away from your family. The thing about it is, once I was home, I was present with my family. I wasn't worried about the production plant calling. I wasn't having to work the weekends. And I just could truly be present. And that allowed me to really expand who I am and develop my own podcast, start my time management coaching and other coaching services. And wow, what a journey it's been. I have met so many amazing people just from the airplane, or, going out there. I've been able to do federal conferences, speak at events, do all of these things had I not said yes to the opportunity. Now, again, the doubt creeps in when people are saying now, like, okay, I'm part of the affected government shutdown. My position actually has been eliminated. And they're like, do you regret it? Nope. Because I know I still have it where God keeps saying he's going to take care of me. Maybe, and it helps us realize it's not just the financials. And when you like right now, no paycheck, you just kind of really evaluate your life. And it's like, what am I working so hard for? What am I spending that I really don't need? And I think that kind of makes us more humble. And that's kind of just who I am. Sorry, I'm just keep talking.
Oh, that's great. That's
beautiful.
great. Yeah. And the ironic thing is, Angelina, I believe we retired I retired from my position in December, and I think it was the same day that you left or something like that, wasn't it?
My last official date at that job was December. Well, the payroll, it was December 29th or December
Yes.
30th, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that was the exact same day that
Yeah.
that was my last day
Mhm.
of work. So
Yeah.
is
Wow.
yeah, it's amazing.
So when you took that job in Maryland, you were
Mhm.
living in California still?
Yeah, I still live in California.
Okay. Were you only working when you were in Maryland, or were you expected to also be doing work when you were at home?
Yeah, so the way that the schedule would work, so the first 90 days, I had to be there um, in office on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I would fly out Monday night. I'd work from home Monday, and then I'd fly out Monday night, depending on how the flights would go. I'd try to take a red eye or something, and then I'd go fly in. I'd go straight to work on Tuesday if I could get a good red eye, and then work on Tuesday, and then check into a hotel, work from the hotel on Wednesdays usually, and then Thursday work back at the office, and then I'd fly back home Thursday, and then be back to work on Friday, working from home.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. But you still felt like, because you had that full 3 days away, you were
Mhm.
able to be more present than when you were out.
I know it sounds weird, right?
No, I get
But
it.
because what I would do is once I was away from work or like traveling on the airplane, I'd make the best use of my time on the airplane. If I was wanting to create content, like, for my other businesses or do things like that, I would use that time. Um, I would on the way back from the airport, the same thing. Like every time I would travel in the airport, just using my time effectively. I would watch movies every now and then, but I just made sure that I was present with being like getting all the stuff done, so that once I was home, I was home. But when I'd come home, the way that we would work, so I was working 12 hours most usually because I had a commute with my old job. So then, like, say on Friday, I come home or I'm home, I would start work at 5 a.m. my time because I'm in California. So that would be 8 for them. And then once I was done with my 8-hour day, it was still lots of hours left in the day.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then I switched to a 4-10 schedule too. So then every Friday it was off.
Nice. That's amazing. No, I completely understand what you're saying because I've said this before. I feel like I had convinced myself because everybody else thought it was working from home was like the way to do life
Mhm.
post COVID. Like that was what we all were striving for. And I think I had tried to make that like make sense for me, but um for me, I needed we're in my office now. I
Mhm.
needed a separate office to go to so I could have more of that separation of like, this is the work time and this is the family time. And I totally understand like being able to separate yourself a little more.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't have my own office yet at once because we didn't have available space. We kind of rearranged the gym so that I could have a desk in there, computer and things like that. And that way we eventually, when my daughter moved out, I took over her room and made it into my office. And then I set it all up so I had all the stuff that I needed. But I always tell my family too, when I'm in the office, I don't need to worry about the dogs or anything like that because I'm working. And it kind of took an adjustment. Like I said, my husband's medically retired, so he's home. And so he didn't understand it at first. Like he's like, "Well, you're here." I'm like, "Yeah, but I have meetings." So the best thing though, and teach this all the time with my time management, just communicate. Let them know what your schedule's going to be. Use a whiteboard and tell them I'm in the office. These are my hours. Like even today, I said, these are the things I'm going to have, recordings I'm going to be doing. And he's like, okay, got it. They know. The hardest thing is the dogs don't know.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
Tell me
Angelina,
that.
Angelina, I have that problem right now because I'm in the middle of writing a book and the dog rings the bell because he wants out and then you have to get him back in and then, I so get it.
Yeah.
And I so understand why you have the office, Kelsey, to come to,
Right. Because I have a dog that likes to bark a lot.
Yes. Yes. So,
um, so you've been obviously off work for a little while because of the government shutdown now, and you said I don't feel like I still don't regret the decision to move into that position. Um, do you have an idea of like what this is for you, or like have you felt any tugs of what opportunities this is opening up for you personally?
Yes, and that's why I feel like it hasn't, it's okay still. Like when I pray all the time, and I even have this Bible verse that's on me on my desk that says, "Be still and know that I'm God." And every time that I get frustrated or like, God, am I doing this right? Like, because with the federal employees, we had the opportunity to do a buyout in January, and I knew that I shouldn't, that it wasn't the right thing because of my conversation with God. I did the listening prayer. And one of the things that I still feel like, even right now, when everybody's like, start looking for another job, I'm like, well, I am kind of looking, but I also feel that God's going to take care of me. Um, but it's also giving me the opportunity to do like more things with my podcast myself, doing more coaching, connecting with different people, looking at different businesses and seeing how I can provide services to them. And it's also like really looking at what are we spending our money on?
yes.
And in fact, we started doing that. So backing it up a little bit, in May of this year, I had to have surgery. And that really got us to thinking about like, we used to go out to eat a lot. And it's like when I couldn't go out or anything, we ended up investing into like kind of working our backyard so that we could grill and do all the things that my husband enjoys to do. And we have been buying food and making food so that we're constantly grilling, cooking, and stuff, and realizing that we could really eat really well on a budget by just making it ourselves, you know? And so we had started really looking at the finances, like, but this is now a little bit harder. We never knew we'd be in this type of situation where there's no income. I haven't gotten a full check all month,
Mhm.
but it's like we had savings, which is always good to have. But it's like I'm not worrying about flying right now. I'm really using my time effectively. We've been getting rid of stuff that we don't need and, you know, selling return. Like we had boxes of stuff we had never touched. And I'm like, why did we buy this? We take it back to Costco, go get groceries, you know? And it's like we buy stuff sometimes just to have stuff. And so it's really been like grounding experience of like, what do we really need? And also, I've been actually working on my health too.
Mhm.
I had digressed a lot with after surgery, and then even when I was traveling all the time, maybe I wasn't always making the best choices of what to eat and not sleeping great. But I've like even this month, I've already lost 8 pounds, which I'm excited about. And it also makes you think about what have I learned from the government shutdown? Never rely on money to make you happy. um, Taking care of your health, don't take it for granted. I would still back in when I'm working from home, I would still skip my lunches because I was like, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. I will never skip breakfast again. I will make sure I take my lunches. It's just like little things like that, making sure I get my exercise in, going outside and getting that sunlight in just really helps you reset. So there's all these things that I was like, wow, I wasn't doing all these things. And like, it's what a transformation it's been for me personally.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. It reminds me of I was on a call earlier this week, and one of the ladies said that her quote was, "Nothing is wasted. Like everything happens, and you can learn something from any experience. There's something to take away, always."
Yeah.
So
It
it's so
reminds
good.
me. I'm sorry.
No,
It reminds me of the 6 pillars of wealth
yeah,
that Patrice Washington talks about.
yeah,
So
yeah, and that so to your point of like the cooking helps financially, it's also helping you be healthier and like that's I've talked about this before I think on our podcast of how like those things are also interconnected for me. And for me, um the space pillar is the one from Patrice Washington's 6 pillars that is lower for me right now and I really need to focus on, and it starts in the kitchen. And you were talking about fixing up that outside space with the grill so that you guys really enjoy being out there. And so it's just a matter of like one little change and it ripples into all these different parts of your life.
Exactly. Which it brings up like one of the things I always tell people, and this is what I teach people during my when I go through coaching and stuff with them, is we got to have this space that brings us joy. That and for when I was working and I was commuting all the time and I was really exhausted from my other job, I couldn't just go in from a long day at work and then a commute with all this traffic and then just go right into the house. Because if I had an angry driver, got upset, I'm going to take that frustration out on my family, right? And then we're going to waste time fighting, right? And time is precious. Like you said, nothing's wasted. Time is also valuable, something we can't get back. And so what I would do, I told my husband, like, I need a time, like if I'm outside, don't bother me right now. Let me just reset my brain. Reset, get rid of the anger that I had from the drive or all the effects of work that was bothering me that day or whatever went wrong in the production plant. And so I had a space with plants. I got succulents. We put them on the table. My husband got a water garden, like a bamboo thing that we could plug in. It brings peaceful water. And I don't always have it on, but it would let him know. I'd text him or tell him, need that waterfall on. So he would make sure that waterfall was on so that when I walked into my house or right before I walked into the front door, it is right on the patio, I could just feel that like the sound of nature, the peacefulness. And that really helped. And needed that space in the backyard too, because you have the dogs and you're like watching them and taking care of them, but you just need to relax. And sometimes I'll just sit out there and just read read a book and drink a beverage, and it feels so relaxing.
Yeah.
Do you guys still have good weather out there that you can spend some of that time outside still?
Right now we do, but it gets windy. So in the high desert where we live, towards the afternoon it gets really windy, and so we have to really time what we eat or when we start to cook, right? But then it's also that meal planning and that communication. What are you going to eat? What are we going to eat for the week? And we try to figure it all out. We write it on a whiteboard. I'm all about whiteboards. We have a little whiteboard in the kitchen. We write it all out so that we're not wasting time going back and forth trying to figure it out. When we have to make these decisions, we get fatigue. Decision fatigue's a thing. So we just try to spend some time before we go to the grocery store. What are we going to eat? What's the list? And then go ahead and take care of everything. Write it on the board, and we know the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier.
You know, Angelina, you mentioned about time management, and I took your time management course, which was wonderful. Can you explain to our listeners how that got started?
So a lot of people always told me, like, how do you get things done? How do you work full time? And this has been something for a long, long time. Even when I had, when my children were younger, how could I get them in sports? I went to school full time. I got my bachelor's degree while I was working at the production plant. Um, all of these things, and everybody's like, and when I backing up a little bit, I also did Lean Six Sigma. I'm a Lean Six Sigma black belt, which basically in the manufacturing, or if you're in the quality, it's like the highest quality certification you can get by looking at processes. How do you eliminate waste? How do you get the most value for your buck? And kind of walking through processes and eliminating waste. Well, when I learned all those concepts, my husband kind of went through some of the training himself before I worked there. But anyway, him and I started talking about, like, when we do laundry, why do we put everything in a basket and then we have to sort through it again? Why don't we just color code baskets, like, all, so the kids can know, like, all the whites go in the white basket, all the towels go in another basket, like all of these types of things. And just kind of started using that as a time saver. And then as I kept going through looking, I used it in the manufacturing process plant, always saving time, budgeting, looking at my hours, making sure I could go to school full time, work, balance the kids' activities. Time management became one of the things I got really good at. And so everybody started asking me for tips. And I'm like, why don't I start coaching on this? And that's something that I had started thanks to leaving the other job. I had the opportunity to create these type of courses that I do.
That's so cool.
That's how it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So I think one of the biggest things I struggle with time management is like estimating how long something will take.
Mm.
Any tips or tricks on that part of it? Because that's hard.
So when you estimate how long things are taking, do you use past experience, or how do you estimate, or do you just pull a number? Those are the one of the things. And so when we audit, like, say an audit a process in the manufacturing plant, or like, let's take Thanksgiving dinner. We're all planning Thanksgiving dinner. We kind of need to lay out what we're going to be doing. We know what's on the menu, right? So like when you look at your day, what's on the menu for the day? What is the things you have to get done? So you're thinking Thanksgiving dinner, I want to have pies. I want to make a ham. I want to make a turkey, mashed potatoes, and then gravy. Maybe you have some corn in there or something like that too. The pies, they're going to take a couple of days. So why could you make those in advance a little bit longer, like 3 days before, and that's the same time you take out the turkey. I don't cook turkey, so I'm not sure how long it takes out. I only make a turkey breast, it's just real easy. But you know what I'm saying. And then the ham, you have the ham. The ham takes 5 hours. The turkey's going to take 7 hours in the crock pot. So you kind of figure all those things out based on experience or reading things. But when it comes to our actual time of what we're doing in our daily actions, if I'm going to record a podcast, I know it takes me about an hour, but I also put in some buffer time, 10 minutes before, 15 minutes after, and I have it set up on my calendar so that way it helps me remember that and nobody can overbook on me. Why it's important is, what if you have to go to the restroom right after? What if you have technical difficulties and it's going to start longer? I think what we do is we overschedule ourselves, and we don't have buffer time. We don't have transition time, so that we go from one meeting to the next meeting to the next meeting, and we never even have time to breathe. And I think that's important. And what I also find, like, I had a call with somebody yesterday, and she said, I have to do all these things, and I got this done, and get this done and this done. I said, who creates your schedule? Who's telling you you have to do these things? She's like, well, me. I said, well, you don't have to do everything at once. You can pick 3 things that you need to do. Like, we were talking about her home life. She felt her house was disorganized. I said, well, pick one area at a time. Spend 15 minutes on it. Put a 15-minute timer. When that timer goes off, walk away. It's okay. Because that 15 minutes that you spent cleaning that one area is better than the 45 minutes you are procrastinating, thinking, I need to do this, I need to do this, and I need to do that. I also think that people shouldn't multitask.
Should wait. What did you just say? Should or should not?
Should not.
Kelsey, Angelina's your best friend.
We did a podcast on this a couple weeks ago, and I was team don't multitask, and she was team multitask.
Yes, she did not like my post because I was doing like 5 things at one time, Angelina.
Well, our brain isn't wired to do that.
Right.
And the reason why it gets so hard, like, you can't, and I used to try to do this, I learned from my mistakes too. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm in the kitchen, I can multitask. I can go in while I'm washing the dishes, I can warm up a tortilla, and then I can do this, and do all these things. Burning the tortilla, I go do this. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
The only time that I say that you can multitask is when your brain isn't going to be overstimulated. If I'm washing dishes, I will listen to a podcast or watch something on YouTube on my iPad or whatever it is. That's okay. But not when it's something that I need to take notes on or things like that, because then I'm not retaining the information. When you are watching your Netflix binge or whatever you're doing, it's okay to fold your laundry at that time, or sort, or like wash your laundry, do all those types of things. But when we need to really be focused on something, we're creating something, we're writing a book, things like that, we can't do 1,000 other things. What happens is we're not really focused. We're going to take us longer to get the things done. Then we're going to have more mistakes, and then we have to go back and fix everything. So it actually takes us longer.
Yeah. 100%. I did say though that I find it helpful when I'm doing like video webinars and things like that to have something doing like I'm doing with my hands. So a lot of times that is taking notes, but if it's not something I'm taking notes on, like folding the laundry was one of the things, because it's like a mindless something to keep my body moving while I'm listening. I can retain better, and I think that's person by person. But yeah,
like when I'm washing dishes and I can't just sit there and wash dishes, because I feel like I could be listening to something.
Yeah.
So then I want to do something like, if it's maybe I'm watching a webinar that I really don't need to take the notes on, like it's like just a repeat webinar, like I already watched it once, or maybe there's a sermon at church that I really want to hear again, I will listen to that, something like that. But yeah, like when I'm sitting there, so when I'm watching football, I'm a football fan, I will sit there and I will have my computer out, and what I do is scheduling my posts, like during the time that, like the breaks and stuff like that, like I'll work on things like that. But when, like, I was talking to somebody the other day, and she was emailing me, she forgot to email me the link because she was doing something else, she was doing all these other things, she's like, I'm multitasking. I'm like, and it took you 6 times longer to get everything done because you kept making mistakes. And the same thing with production. Like when you're working in a manufacturing plant, if you are trying to do this and that and everything, those are when your defects go up. And so that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And so I have done manufacturing a small bit in the past. And yeah, it's like the repetitiveness of like, you just do this thing and you just keep doing this thing. And that's what makes it efficient. Yeah, thank you so much. So
this was so good. Just those tips.
Yeah. So what are the courses you teach on this, and how can people find those? And then also, like, what else are you doing that people can find you on socials and those types of things?
Okay, so my website is angelinarivera.com. On there right now, I have all my coaching services, consulting services, and I also have my links to my social media. But on Instagram, it is the dot Angelina dot Rivera, where they can find me. I'm on LinkedIn. Facebook is just Angelina Rivera. But what are the courses you asked about? So I do have a time management coaching. It's called Unlock Your Time Potential. That's the one that Tina has taken. And that one it's not open right now, but I do have a wait list. And basically that's about an 8-week course. And I've changed it a little bit so that you can, if you want more intention, you can add on value, add on sessions. But basically it's a one-on-one for the first week. Then we do where I get to know you. I get to know what are your weaknesses, what are the things you're struggling with. And then I meet with everybody, and then we do 6 weeks of coaching, group coaching, and I teach specifically on the issues that everybody's having. Like if we're having issues with social media, you have your entrepreneurial business and you have problems with social media. We talk strictly on social media, organizing your house, all the things that are actually going to help you save time. And then the last week of coaching is just the follow up with the one-on-one. I also have a distractions course, and that one is about a 5-week course. And we just talk about distractions and ways that you can eliminate those distractions. And it's specifically on it's time management as well, but it's really going to help those people that have focus, attention issues, and things like that. I also do one-on-one coaching, and I also do like the consulting for businesses, helping if you have a small, medium-sized business. It doesn't matter if you're in manufacturing, you have services, you're in the restaurant industry. I will help you by value stream mapping your processes, looking at what keeps you up at night and helping you solve those issues.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you do a lot of work with small business owners and helping their processes? Like you said, restaurants, but like other small business owners too?
Oh, yeah, small businesses.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I said it for specifically restaurants because some people think it's just have to be a manufacturer, but I can help all kinds of industries. And that's where my Lean Six Sigma Black Belt comes in. So those are the things that I love to help, because I will go to a drive up line to get my car's oil changed, and I'm like, you guys are walking around too much. It's too much waste, and it's like I think of it as spaghetti. Like you have all these spaghettis going out just to map the process. One of the things we did when I worked at the production plant was we had a vehicle and it had a long repair cycle time. And so we looked at the components, like all the things that were built up into to make this vehicle. The components were traveling 57 miles on average. We literally walked with each component, walked and traced the process and put it on this map, and it looked like spaghetti.
That's so funny. Oh, goodness.
That's cool.
Could I give you guys a tip?
Yeah.
Do you guys drink coffee?
No.
Yes.
I don't. I don't.
I do.
No, well, that's okay. So think about this in your house, and it could be anything, any of your beverage that you drink in the morning. Where do you keep your cups for that beverage? Where do you keep the, Tina, you're probably Plexus, right, in the morning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, I've got my pink drink.
Your coffee and all the things. Like, put that all together. So think about when you're walking in the morning to make your coffee or your favorite beverage in the morning. How much time are you walking back and forth? Set up your house so that you're not reaching for 10,000 things all at once in the morning.
Yeah.
It's simple as that.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like when I had in my other house, when I remodeled my whole kitchen, I did that so well and set it up exactly with what you're saying. And now I'm trying to figure it out in my new kitchen. But yeah, it does make a difference. Yeah. It really does.
Yeah.
And it's all about just saving that time, and people think it's insignificant. But if you're spending, even with your keys, if you are spending 5 minutes a day trying to find your keys, right when you get home, have a little spot that you put your keys at. And that way you know where they're at.
Yeah. Yep. I need to get my kids on that train with their shoes. There is a spot. It's getting them to put them in the spot. Right? So that's part of it too. Awesome.
Yeah,
Well, thank
some
you.
type of reward system would work.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so many great tips, Angelina.
Yeah.
So many.
Thank you so much for
But
being here.
yeah, your program that you have, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Especially the time blocking with your
Mhm.
calendar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You've helped me so much, Angelina. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. I love hearing
Yeah.
that.
And thank you
There's
so
also
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say there are some free resources when you go to my website, and there's a section called links. If they could just click on the links, it has some free resources that will help you with like the time audit, a distractions guide, little things like that as well that are some free resources. But I'd love to connect with anybody and help them with really truly learning how to manage your time. I think one of the things people think is they can find all these resources, but one of the things is, as a coach, I had you accountable. I will follow up with you. I will make sure that you're doing the things you say you want to do. And Tina, you were really good with you had a sold out event that you were able to accomplish. Then you kept the podcast and all of these things. And I think that that's really a true testament of how when you work with somebody, you can really show them how to value their time, and then how they can expand once they find out they do have the time. Because being busy is not productive. It's, are you working on the right things?
Right.
And I think we really helped you with that.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of the episode today. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Bloom with Tina and Kelsey. Your support truly means the world to us, and we're so grateful to have you as part of our blossoming community.
We hope you enjoyed this week's conversation and found inspiration in our discussions. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you love what you hear, please consider leaving us a review. Your feedback helps us grow and reach more listeners like you.
Join us next week for another exciting episode filled with insights, laughter, and growth. We can't wait to share it with you.
Keep blowing and see you soon.